terrorist attack on the Sri Lankan team
in the Pakistani city of Lahore.
I was so embarrassed.
They were ambushed from 4 directions. The gun battle went on for nearly half an hour.
Not a sign of a policeman anywhere.
They were told cricketers would never be targeted. That was proved horribly wrong.
It was supposed to be just another morning of Test cricket. On March the 3rd, 2009, the Sri Lankan national cricket team were on their way to resume play against Pakistan in the second Test at Lahore's Gaddafi Stadium. The sun was shining, the players were relaxed, and the bus to the ground was just part of their routine. The drive was expected to take around 10 minutes. Security in Lahore had been described as tight, but as would later be discovered, not nearly tight enough. As they approached Liberty Roundabout, calm turned into chaos. Gunfire erupted, grenades exploded, and within minutes, the sport's greatest fear, an armed attack on players, had become a reality. As a result, the world of cricket would never be the same again. In early 2009, international cricket in Pakistan was already on shaky ground. Since the 2008 Mumbai terror attacks, security fears had kept most foreign teams from playing there. India had cancelled their tour to Pakistan, leaving the Pakistan Cricket Board desperate to fill the gap. Sri Lanka, led by captain Mahela Jayawardena, agreed to step in and fill the void. This was partly as a gesture of friendship between the cricketing nations, and partly because both boards shared a long-standing relationship. The 2 Test series had gone smoothly up until that day. Pakistan and Sri Lanka had played a thrilling first Test in Karachi, followed by a competitive start to the second Test in Lahore. No one could have predicted what would unfold on the third morning. The Sri Lankan team bus left the Pearl Continental Hotel just after 8:30 a.m., escorted by a police convoy. The players were chatting or listening to music as they prepared mentally for another day of play. Outside, the streets of Lahore looked normal as they bustled with their usual morning activity. As the bus approached Liberty Roundabout, it slowed to make a turn toward the stadium. Suddenly, a white car pulled out in front of the convoy, forcing it to come to a halt. Then, from multiple directions, heavily armed men emerged. Automatic gunfire rang out. Windows were shattered, and the driver of the bus instinctively hit the brakes. Inside, panic erupted, but the cricketers ducked low to the floor, trying to avoid the hail of bullets. Pakistan's police escort engaged in a gunfight with the attackers, but they were heavily outnumbered and outgunned. Regrettably, several police officers were shot almost instantly. The attackers lobbed grenades toward the bus and the security van. A rocket-propelled grenade missed the bus, but it hit a nearby wall, sending debris flying. Thilan Samarawira, who had scored a double century the previous day, was struck in the leg. Kumar Sangakkara later recalled, "We were all lying on the floor and bullets were whizzing just inches above our heads." The saving grace for the Sri Lankan players was to come from the swift actions of Meher Mohammed Khalil, the bus driver. Despite bullets striking the vehicle, Khalil accelerated hard towards the stadium. His quick thinking prevented the attackers from getting close enough to board the bus. Behind the players' bus, the match officials' minibus, carrying the umpires and the match referee, came under heavy fire. It was less fortunate as it stalled in the crossfire. Umpire Ahsan Raza was critically wounded. He had been shot twice and ended up in a serious condition in a Lahore hospital.
I got 2 bullets first in my tummy, second on my right lung. I spent 27 to 29 days in intensive care, 3 days in coma. So it was a horrible day for me and for the Pakistan.
Match referee Chris Broad later said, "We were just sitting ducks. I thought we were going to die right there." Additionally, 7 people, including police officers and the bus driver of the official's vehicle, were killed in the crossfire. When the Sri Lankan team arrived at Gaddafi Stadium, armed guards flung open the gates as the bus roared in. Players were rushed into the players' dressing room. Medical teams worked frantically. The injured were stabilized before being taken to hospital. Samarawira's injury required surgery. Tilan Samarawira had a gunshot through his thigh. Tharanga Paranavitana had been shot in the chest but survived from the gunshot wound. And Ajantha Mendis, Kumar Sangakkara and Mahela Jayawardena had all suffered minor shrapnel injuries. Meanwhile, the attackers had melted away into the city before security forces could capture them. And while the attack may have only lasted about 15 minutes, its impact was permanent. The cricketing world reacted with disbelief as television networks replayed the harrowing images of bullet holes in the bus, blood on the seats, and abandoned helmets and cricket gear lying in the aisle. Security experts immediately questioned how such a well-coordinated attack could take place despite the heavy police presence. ICC Chief Executive Haroon Lorgat called it a sad day for cricket, while former Pakistan captain Imran Khan condemned it as a national tragedy. A review of the security revealed some shocking lapses had occurred. The police escort was insufficiently trained for a high-level attack. The security at Liberty Roundabout had been thinned out that morning for unexplained reasons. And it appeared that the attackers knew the convoy's route, which suggested a leak from inside.
Where was that presidential form of security? There was no presidential form of security, there was just one bus. And to say that we are going to investigate, what do you mean by that?
In the days that followed, the Sri Lanka team flew home under tight security, the rest of the tour having been cancelled. As a result of this horrific attack, no international cricket team toured Pakistan for over a decade. Pakistan was forced to play their home games in the UAE, hosting teams in Dubai, Abu Dhabi and Sharjah. For Pakistani fans, the absence of live international cricket was devastating. The stadiums in Pakistan lay empty, and young players grew up without the chance to watch their heroes in person. As for those who had been on the bus, the mental scars lasted long after the physical wounds healed. Sangakkara later admitted that, for months, sudden loud noises made him flinch. Mahela Jayawardena said of the attack, "It was a miracle that none of us died that day. And we were lucky, and that's not something you ever want to say when you're talking about surviving a terrorist attack." The attack was the turning point for how cricket approached the safety of players. In countries considered to be high risk, heavier armed escorts became the standard. Team buses were fitted with reinforced windows. Travel routes were kept secret until the last moment. And many boards refused to tour high-risk countries without airtight guarantees. For Pakistan's cricket, it was a long road back. It took until 2015 for international cricket to return to Pakistan, when Zimbabwe toured for a short limited overs series. Gradually, other teams followed, with Sri Lanka eventually returning in 2019, a symbolic moment marking the closing of a painful chapter. So, why is this considered to be the darkest day in cricket history? After all, cricket has faced tragedies before. The death of players on the field, match-fixing scandals, and political boycotts. But never before had a national team come under a military-style attack during a tour. The Lahore assault shattered the illusion that sport could remain untouched by global terrorism. It reminded the world that even a game as beloved and unifying as cricket is not immune to violence. The sport of cricket has been changed forever. More than 2 decades later, the events of March 3rd, 2009 still remain etched in cricket's collective memory. It is a story of horror, survival, and resilience, and a day when the love for the game was overshadowed by the violence of the real world. But it's also a story of human courage. The bravery of the police officers who died protecting the players, the quick thinking of Meher Mohammad Khalil, and the calm of the Sri Lankan cricketers who came under fire ensured that the darkest day in cricket history was not also the sport's deadliest. Cricket has endured and survived, but it would never be the same again.